Welcome back to Dmac Mad Gaming. I'm your host Dmac, and here we believe gaming is a lifestyle, not a hobby. Welcome back, guys, and today I want to talk about Resident Evil 2 Remake. Now, I've been hearing some things in the gaming community about what Capcom did with some of the DLC that gamers didn't like. I want to talk about some of the announcements that Capcom has made, and talk about some of the gamers in the gaming community that feel like Resident Evil 2 Remake is too hard. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the paid DLC behind paid walls, and that's pertaining to the soundtrack of Resident Evil 2. Now, we all seen Resident Evil when it first came out in 1992. It was one of the most iconic games of its time, and the soundtrack was made it so iconic. I mean, the soundtrack itself would set the atmosphere up, set it up so well where everything scared the living daylights out of you, from jumping out of the corners, from coming out of the ground. The soundtrack itself made it that much more scarier. And a lot of people wanted to relive that nostalgia in Resident Evil 2 Remake. But because we had a paywall, people are kind of upset about it. Now, I understand why they're upset, but it's not a real big deal. And I'm going to give you some reasons why it's not a big deal. The first thing is, that's the only thing that's behind a paywall that really some people may want to have as they play Resident Evil 2 Remake. It's not another thing to hinder the progression of the game, even though they also had some cosmetics that you can buy from DLC and some weapons that you got with the pre-order, but nothing that can damage the progression system of the game or make it not feel like a horror survivor. And I think Capcom did a wonderful job with that, and I gotta give them props for that because they did a really wonderful job. They reimagined Resident Evil 2 from 1998 and made it more of current standards for survival horrors, and I think they did a wonderful job. But I can understand why people are upset about the paywall with the soundtrack. But it's not a really big deal, but I understand why people will want it. It's just to relive that nostalgia, relive that moment when you first played Resident Evil 2. Because it's some eerie music. And if you haven't played Resident Evil 2 from 1998, if you have a PlayStation 2, I recommend going out and getting it at GameStop or eBay, wherever you can find it. Because it's a really memorable game. And I think Resident Evil Remake is an even better version of that. So I understand where they're coming from that, and I understand why they feel the way they feel, but it's still not as big as a deal as people making it out to be. So let's talk about the next thing. Capcom just announced that they're giving us free DLC for Resident Evil 2 Remake. Now this DLC is named the Ghost Survivor, where there's three other survivors in Raccoon City that you play as, and one of the characters that you're gonna play is a gun shop owner. The other is the daughter of the mayor, and another one is a soldier. And you get to play them and see how they survived Raccoon City and what their stories were all about. And I'm really excited for it. And I'm hoping that each of these characters have at least a 4 or 5 hour playthrough, which will give us 12 to maybe another 12, 13 hours of gameplay. Hopefully that's what's the case. I don't know. They haven't said too much about it. But when I get more information about the DLC, I will update you guys on it. Because I'm hoping that it's at least 4 hours on for each character. That gives us another 12 hours of playtime. And I'm really hoping that's the case. If it's longer than 4 hours, that's even better. I want to be in this world as much as I can, and hopefully the DLC will give us some more time in the Resident Evil 2 Remake world, because they did a wonderful job with it. And I'm really excited about it. And it was coming out February 15th, and a lot of people have been talking about it in the gaming community, came across some articles, and I'm really excited for it. And we get to see other survivors in Raccoon City besides Leon and Claire, which I think is awesome. I think Capcom is doing a wonderful job by giving us free DLC and not charging us for it, which Capcom is known for. I mean, with Street Fighter games, you pay for a lot of your extra characters and things like that, or you could just grind. And sometimes the grind can take hours to end, and some people just want to get the characters right away. So I'm just glad that the DLC to expand on the narrative of the game is free to download. I think a lot of developers in the gaming industry need to do this because we've been seeing a lot of microtransactions that made no sense when it comes to the game logically. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4, the dot that you could pay for with some of the game currency makes no sense when they used to be free. A lot of developers are putting in unnecessary microtransactions that don't need to be there, and I think that a lot of us need to speak up about it. And I'm glad that Capcom didn't go that far. Now they did put a paywall behind the Resident Evil soundtrack, but it's only $4 and it's not a big deal. And I feel like $4 is not a lot for that soundtrack because the soundtrack is very memorable, bringing back a lot of nostalgic memories about the Resident Evil 2 from 1998. So I don't feel like it's really a big deal. and they're giving us free DLC with more characters to continue the narrative of the Resident Evil 2 remake. So I'm really happy about it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of people talking about Resident Evil in the gaming community. A lot of people are praising it, saying it's one of the best Resident Evil games they ever played. They improve upon what Resident Evil 2, what made Resident Evil 2. The original was so good, they improved upon it and made it even better. It's a game that has a lot of replay value, and I love games that have replay value. And Resident Evil 2 Remake does have a lot of replay value. And if the DLC that they released in February have replay value as well, I'm gonna be too excited, too happy. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that if you haven't played Resident Evil 2 Remake, you should give it a shot. You can probably rent it from Redbox or from GameFly if you don't want to pay the $60 up front. But I recommend if you get it rented from Redbox or you get it from GameFly, you will want to purchase it because it's a game that you will want to keep in your collection. I guarantee that. So let's talk about the other thing that the gamers talk about in the gaming community that kind of baffle me to my mind. A lot of gamers feeling like Resident Evil 2 Remake is too hard to complete. It's too hard to progress in the game because of being a horror survivor and materials like ammo and stuff is scattered throughout the boards, and it's difficult to navigate when you have Mr. X chasing you down and the zombies and things that get in your way. And I think Capcom did a really wonderful job with the AIs in this game. They're really out to get you. No matter if you put it on assist mode, they come after you. And if you don't act quickly, you can get really damaged in the game. And I think they did a wonderful job with that, making it just a tad more difficult than Resident Evil 2. And I got to give Capcom props for that. I think they did a wonderful job. But some of the gamers in the gaming community feel like it's too hard. And I don't think it's too hard, but some people are maybe not used to survival horrors and they don't know how to actually navigate. In games like this, you got to score the whole. You got to look through the whole board. You got to go through every door, looking at every cabinet to find the resources you need to continue crafting the things you need to progress in the game. And if it's too difficult or normal or hard, do a system mode where it's not as aggressive. And I think if you're still having a hard time, look up some walkthroughs or read some walkthroughs to give you some advantages on what you need to look for and collect to deal with certain enemies. Now, Mr. X is the most scary and most intimidating character throughout the game, and you can't kill him, but you can immobilize him. And I think that if you're having a hard time with him, go online, do some research, get some information from other gamers to figure out how to immobilize him as quick as possible to continue playing throughout the game, to continue progressing in the game, and it's not really a big deal. Now, I know some of you guys out there probably clowning these gamers who are having a hard time with it, but I'm not, because I feel like not every game is easy for everybody. Everybody experiences games different. Some people can understand the mechanics of survival horror while others can't. And for those who are having a hard time and don't understand the survival mechanics, get online, do some research, watch a playthrough, read a playthrough to understand what you need to use, where you need to find it, and how you need to use it to execute what you want to execute to progress in the game. And I think once you do that, you'll find out that it's not as hard as you think it is. And I think a lot of times that some games may be difficult for people to find out on their own. They may need some hints and some tricks. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a terrible gamer. It doesn't make you weak. It just means you are different than other games. Some gamers can figure out by just playing. Some can't. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think those who are having a hard time with it really need to give it a shot. Put it on system mode. Get online, look at some walkthroughs, and get some hints on how to deal with each character that's coming at you in Resident Evil 2 to progress in it, because it's a great story and it's worth playing through because it's a wonderful experience to have. And I think that's what you really need to focus on as you play Resident Evil 2 Remake. So that's all I got to talk about today, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you feel like Resident Evil 2 Remake is too hard from the original, or do you feel like they're the same, or do you feel like people just need to play a little bit harder or look up some information that gets tricks to kind of deal with the difficulty of the game? Are you upset that the original soundtrack of Resident Evil 2 is behind a paywall? And are you excited about the free DLC that Capcom's going to release in February? Let me know all you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for staying to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps out the channel. Make sure you share. It also helps out as well. If you want to see more content from your boy, Dmac, make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe button to be notified when I upload more content like this. As always, stay safe,